Hello, everyone, and welcome to this workshop where you're going to learn about impacts of diet and lifestyle on your mood and anxieties. I'm Mariana from Change Naturopathy, and I'm just sharing the screen that you can see what we're talking about. So that's the topic, impact of diet and lifestyle on anxiety. So I was just going to outline the workshop agenda first. The workshop is designed in 4 parts. Today we will talk in general about anxiety. Part 2 or video 2, you will learn something about how diet actually can cause development of anxiety. In part 3, we can see and learn how to reduce anxiety by implementing some nutritional changes. And part 4, you can learn how changing some of your lifestyle can actually reduce anxiety and help you manage anxiety much better. A little bit about me before we start. I'm a naturopath, medical herbalist and nutritionist, practicing in Auckland, New Zealand, seeing my clients online and in person here at my home clinic. And I love supporting and educating busy parents to take control of their health and their children's health. And I'm focusing, as you can see, obviously on management of anxieties, depression, or other mental health issues by identifying and mitigating underlying causes of your anxiety or any other chronic health issues. So I would love to really help as many families as possible. And I just want to point out that I personally experienced anxiety and depression in the past. So I know that this is not really, and that is not really nice place to be, not nice energy to be. And that's why I would like to share my experience and knowledge that I draw from many research studies and that I also use for myself. So it can impact your whole life. It can impact your family relationships, ability to function day to day, and ability to enjoy life. So I really don't want you to be in that bad energy and that bad place. I want you to, again, enjoy little things in life, every day, normal everyday life. And have a small and big plans for your future and follow your goals. So today, let's go back to the slides. Today, in part 2, we will talk. I will talk a little bit in general about anxiety, what is definition, some statistics. But also I will point out some symptoms of anxiety so you can recognize if you are suffering some of those symptoms. And I talk about triggers, the most common triggers of anxiety. So how we can define anxiety? Anxiety is a fear or worry about something happening in the future, such perceived to be stressful, dangerous, or unfamiliar situation. That's just natural response to our stress, what we experience every day. Everybody experiences stress in their lives, and everybody have that natural anxiety feeling because of some events in their life it's happening. For example, you just remember when you getting ready for a very important interview, job interview, or very important presentation at work, what you're gonna give, or in the school, or you preparing for exciting new date with somebody new who you haven't met before. So all of that will rise stress and anxiety in your body, and that's a normal anxiety, and you will overcome hopefully those anxieties fairly quickly. So that kind of anxiety, we can say they are good anxieties because there is another type of anxiety, but we can also where the stress response is also help us to perceive and to actually recognize the danger. So if there is a danger, we will escape from the danger or avoid the danger. In any other cases, anxiety could be progressing and repeating itself over a long period of time, and then becomes chronic anxiety. Everything with anxiety symptoms that you have over 6 months, we would say that you start suffering from chronic anxiety, and that should be looked into. As I pointed out, it's very, very important to start with finding underlying causes of your anxiety, to be able to manage your anxiety. And it's very important also to look, to have that holistic approach, so looking every side of assessing psychological, physical, spiritual, social imbalances that possibly causing anxiety for you. So we can say that experience of anxiety is very similar to experience of the fear. However, the main difference in that is anxiety is happening in the absence of real danger, because usually we are stressing about something what is not real, what is possibly could be, it's not danger, but something what we perceive as a danger, but we think it could be dangerous for us, and that's what we don't want to face it. But as I said, if it's progressing, if it goes longer than 6 months, it's important to look into that and important to deal with that. Let's look at some statistics worldwide about anxiety just quickly. So anxiety is the most common mental illness in the world, and about 70 million people worldwide, 13% have mental health disorders, where anxieties, people who suffer from anxiety was about 3.6%, or 264 million of people worldwide. It is also most common mental illness in United States. There are 40 million people are affected. Here in New Zealand, 1 in 4 New Zealanders is affected with anxiety. And we know also that many children and teenagers, about 20% of them are suffering also from mental health disorders. The children, about 7% suffering from diagnosed with anxiety. And children, older children, teenagers from 13 to 18 years old, this is 25% that are diagnosed with anxiety. Looking at gender, globally, mental health illness and anxiety affects more women than men. And in children, when we're looking at younger children, boys are more affected with mental health illness than girls. If you're looking at anxiety, and anxiety, for example, specifically found in teenagers, girls are much more affected with anxiety than boys. But I just want to say that these statistics could be not really true numbers, because there's many people who don't really seek medical help, or they're seek only natural solutions, and they are not included in this count. So there would be much higher amount of people that is shown up in these statistics that suffering from anxieties worldwide. So let's go on the anxiety symptoms, so you can recognize if you suffering from any of the symptoms, if you're suffering from anxiety, or anybody who you know might suffer from anxiety. So that could be anything from frustration, overthinking, excessive sweating, panic, worry, could be digestive health issues. So diarrhea, acid reflux, nausea, digestive issues like bloating, IBS, excessive sweating, wobbly legs, non-verbal, can't communicate, have a tightness in your throat, feeling trapped, or feeling that people are watching you and judging you. So many different symptoms there would be much more than I presented here on this page. But for example, in children, those symptoms could be a little bit different, because you know that a little child not going to come from school or from the soccer practice and say, oh, I'm so anxious, I don't want to do this task at school tomorrow. I don't want to. They will come and say, oh, I have a really sore tummy and I don't want to go to school tomorrow. I have a very sore tummy. I don't want to go to soccer practice tomorrow because something happened there. Is it being bullied, or they are not happy to do the task what they're supposed to do in the school for many reasons. So we have to recognize that in children. So there could be any fear, they're showing nervousness, clinging, excessive clinging, and don't want to go to the specific social settings with many new people, worried, anger. They're not happy to fall asleep by themselves. They always need support of the parents to go to sleep in the evening. They also can show up as anger and tantrums, rapid breathing, or holding their breaths. And we can classify those anxieties in children, specifically as a separation anxiety, social anxiety, phobias, general anxiety, panic disorder, irritation, and anger. So similar goes for the anxieties in adults. What is important, what I want to outline here, very, very important, that if you hear from anybody from your family or your friends who tell you anytime, oh, that's all in your head, and please snap out of it as you can. If somebody tells you, if you're suffering from anxiety, somebody tells you something like that, just please know that that's not true. It's not all in your head, because there are many biochemical reactions in your body that can go wrong, because maybe we are missing something. Maybe you're missing something in your body. Maybe you're nutritionally deficient in some minerals and vitamins, or your production of neurotransmitters and other hormones are not up to scratch. So this can impact definitely function in your body, and can impact also function of your brain, and cause the anxiety and depression. So yes, please don't think that it's everything in your head, because usually that's not the case. Anxiety triggers, let's identify them so that maybe you can recognize if any of those were the cause of your anxiety, if you're suffering anxiety of anybody who you know. So could be emotional, mental stressors that could be anything from any traumas that you experience in your life, any adverse childhood experiences, other life events like that, divorce, illness, car crash, and anything like that. Or could be environmental stressors. And environmental stressors is anything, any toxins that we are exposed to every day in our life. So we are inhaling toxins through the air, what we breathe every second. Eating food, there's a lot of toxins and pesticides in the food that we eat, cleaning products that we use in our household, personal hygiene products that we use. So all of this is exposing us to heavy metals, possibly any other types of toxicities. Then we could be exposed to mold through the moldy houses, Lyme disease, parasites and bacteria, viral infection that also can cause imbalances in the body, specifically in the gut. Dietary choices and blood and sugar levels that also going on to that. Could be anything from that you are eating standard Western diet that's loaded with sugars and simple carbohydrates. So all of those causing inflammation in our body, that going on to weakening our immune system, possibly causing food sensitivities and nutritional deficiencies, but I will be talking more about in part 2. So I'm not going to go in detail here about it. And the gut health is also very, very important, but again, I will talk in detail in part 2. And you will see how gut health is connected also to our brain, and why is that our gut health important for development of possible development of our mental health issues. So gut health is extremely important, and you will hear from any of the functional health practitioners and naturopaths pointing out always on the importance, and start first from the gut and finding out what's happening in the gut, because we know now that research has shown that about 80% of all diseases starts in the gut. So that's very important to be a starting point of investigation if somebody comes with any chronic illness. So why is increase in anxiety today? We want to know that. Why is we have a higher percentage of anxiety happening now than 20 years ago or 50 years ago? This is possibly due to many technological advancements that we are enjoying today, which brought us many convenient options in food production, many convenient options in life-saving breakthroughs in emergency medicine, instantaneous long-distance communication, so we can talk to anybody all around the world without not getting together, even not necessarily only on the phone, so we can speak in face. So we know all of these saving technological advances actually help us save time and focus more on our work, on our businesses. But what's that caused as a secondary symptoms is that our lives have become very stressful. Our lives become very sedentary, removed from nature. We have become more socially isolated, not getting together at all anymore, not getting out in the nature at all. We are much more exposed to the environmental toxins because of all the advancement in food, which we got a more processed food, we got a more fast food. Everything is more fast, more convenient, and nothing has ever done anymore from scratch. So all of that, of course, is causing that we see much more increase of development of mental health issues and many other chronic issues in the world, because all of these stressors play a big part on lowering down our immune system and function of our body, which trying to fight and give us signals that something is wrong with the different chronic issues and health issues that are starting appearing in our body. So what I would like to point out at the end here, if you notice that somebody in your family or your friend circle suffering from chronic stress or anxiety, the best thing you can do for them is to be there for them, to be emotionally available for them. They not necessarily need you to give them advice at that point, but they just need you to be there for them, to listen, to be emotionally available. So just try to be that, and then you're going to be huge help for people who suffer from anxiety, depression, and other mental health illness. Of course, if you notice that they're struggling with their everyday lives, just advise and try to take them to the medical health practitioner or natural health practitioner for assessment and help with the management of anxiety. So in a conclusion for today, I just want to say that the good news on all of this is that anxiety is treatable, especially with the early intervention. So early intervention, recognition of the anxiety symptoms, what I was pointing out today, it's really, really important to be able to, on time, to act and start managing anxiety and reducing anxiety, and at the end eliminating your anxiety. So hope you enjoyed this introduction to anxiety, and I'll see you in a part 2 when we're going to talk about how foods, what we eat, can trigger our anxiety. See you in the part 2.